Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, I
No,
got I got what's that?
I was gonna say no chili pepper shirt today. Just the
No,
lighthouse.
the lighthouse is another one that Lauren gave me, my wife. So gotta wear them. I like them. She gets me the stylish stuff, so I wear it, and here we are.
Nice. I love it. Is this
Yeah,
the home office we find you in today?
this is the home office. Yep. So
Very fancy.
yeah, and I did my hair up for you today and everything. I didn't know when coming on. I
You.
thought that you give me a second to talk to you, without going live. And all of a sudden, I see the cameras on. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So, welcome.
No, the live thing, I'm just testing. It's unlisted, so nobody's like tuning in live. We're just gonna do on demand, old school, and chop it up, edit it later. So I just wanted to play
Cool.
around with it and see what happens. So how it works. Yeah,
Sweet.
man. I see the you got your MFers mug, Web3 in the building.
Cheers. It's my daily cup. It's what I use now. So I
It's
get disappointed when it's not clean. I don't get to use it for some reason. It makes me happy. I brings me joy.
that's the go-to, huh?
Hmm.
So the coffee cup was what, like $20? And how much was the token?
I the Yeah, right. So the coffee mug was a gift from a fellow MFer friend. So he knew that I owned it, and one day I got this box. I opened it up and see it. I'm like, how did I get this? Like, I didn't, it wasn't like an airdrop type of thing where it's like a free gift for getting the NFT. It was just a friend that sent it. I'm like, did you happen to send this mug to me? And of course it was. So yeah, I
Is
can't
that
reveal names because this is
yeah,
total anonymous, right?
right.
So
Is that the friend
um,
that I know of?
it is the friend that you know of. Yes,
Okay. Yeah,
yes,
I know the name. It's in my
yeah,
brain, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
words shall not be spoken.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's pretty cool stuff, and I enjoy the mug. It's like I said, just brings a little bit of joy to my life. So here we are.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
tell me about the setup you got over there.
Let's see. We got four walls. We got a roof. It's like
Good.
adulting to the max. It's a house. As you know, we spent years renovating it. And I'm sick of home improvement. So it's like a startup only in the real world instead of on the internet. So all the same sorts of stuff and fun. But yeah, I know you're headed to Disney too, but headed to Disney in a couple weeks. So hyped about that. Still haven't gotten
Yeah.
the magic bands yet. Like had to call about them, and I guess they're waiting to be picked up. So hopefully version 2.0 comes before head out the door
Yeah.
because I want haptic feedback on my wrist while I'm experiencing
Well,
experiencing.
the Magic Bands Plus, which just came out, have like interactive stuff with it and all kinds of stuff. Like goes to the beat of the music when the fireworks are playing and all kinds of stuff, from what I understand. So it's pretty next level tech. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I want to see the 50th anniversary stuff because
Yeah.
like the gold statues and there's some interactivity with that, which would be pretty cool. And I guess you said they extended it till like March 2023 from
Yep.
November. So that's cool. And I want to go back over Christmas because I really want to see Disney over the Christmas time period.
You have more disposable income than I do because it's an expensive trip, and I don't think I'll be going back for a couple of years after this one. So it's intense and it's complicated. Like my
Yeah.
wife is like keeping spreadsheets of like all the rides and the height limits for each ride. So we've got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and so we're got to make sure that they can go on the rides or which ones to go to, because like I don't want to be in the position of like going to a ride and all of a sudden finding out that like they can't go on it because of their height.
Right.
So we're trying to get prepared ahead of time of what we can and cannot go on. So
Yeah. Are you going to do the thing where like you go on an adult ride and the other one stays with one of the kids or both the kids if the line's short? Are you going to do the Genie Plus thing?
yeah, yeah, we're gonna do Genie Plus and what's the other Lightning Pass or something like
Yeah,
that. I forget what
lightning
it's called.
lanes.
Yeah, Lightning Lanes. So like we're I'm still doing a lot of research of like, okay, so how does this work? Because this sounds extremely stressful. Like
It's a lot.
throughout the day. Like, you're
Yeah.
on your app. It's a ton of stuff. Like, I understand that the Magic Bands help with some of that stuff, like being able to get into your hotel. You don't have to think about a room key, right? Stuff like that. But yeah, like the lightning passes and the genie pass stuff, like that's whole nother level of like complexity to it.
Yeah, I
So
remember last year when we got, because I had been maybe once when I was a kid, and like we had gone to Disneyland in California like once
yeah,
or twice just for a day, but Disney World is like extreme, and we got one of those guidebooks. It was like
yeah,
500 pages, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what? But
yeah,
obviously there's no kids, so we just kind of were like, all right, we're just gonna pick a park and like a dinner or two, and then just roam. And luckily, when we
which
went last year, it was during August, and it was right when the pandemic had sort of like kicked up again with the Delta
yep,
variant. And so
yep,
we got a booster before we went, but there was like no crowds. So it was, I remember the Avatar ride, like sometimes it'd be a 2 hour wait, and we just walked like all the way through right up to the front, waited like 10 minutes, got on. It was amazing. Like Rise of the Resistance, we were able to go on 3 times. Like that ride, if there's no other thing that you do, make sure you book Rise of the Resistance, and like when
okay.
you go, at least I mean, sat afterwards, I just sat there for a second and I was like, I suck at what I do, because like you're the
Yeah,
masters. It just blew my hair back, man. It's like the
I
best
mean,
I've ever done it.
I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And just I don't know what to expect. It's been, I think I was maybe it's either 13 or 16, something like that, when I went with the family, and like I just don't remember a whole lot from it. I
Yeah.
remember going to Epcot and like doing some stuff there, but I don't remember a lot of the rides. Maybe Splash Mountain, I probably vaguely remember. But like I think a lot's changed since then. So not to date
Yeah.
myself, but yeah. So we'll see. And I don't know how the girls are going to do on some of these like more adult rides.
Yeah.
I think they'll be all right, but I have no idea. I think
Yeah.
the biggest ride they've been on is like at the state fair so far. So like this is a whole new experience.
That's good.
So
Well, that's the cool thing about Disney. It's not like Six Flags where they're trying to flip you upside down and go 100 miles per hour.
yeah,
It's built to be family friendly. So
yeah,
you'll know, like there a lot of rides are just like made for the kids. Like Peter Pan is awesome.
yeah.
And yeah, it's super chill.
Yeah, I'm
But
looking forward to it. I'm terrified but excited. Let's put it that way. Like I'm terrified from like again, small children, huge park, like a lot of walking all day long. I'm getting in shape
yeah,
right now just so I can make sure I can make it through the 12 miles a day or whatever it's going to end
yeah,
up being. We'll see if we're close to, we're going to stay at the Polynesian. At least that's what we're thinking of. That's probably where we end up staying. We have it booked and all that stuff, but we're trying to decide like, is this worth the whatever it is, $8,000 or something like that? It's ridiculous. So
yeah,
to try and figure out like, do we want to do that, or do we want to go to a less expensive hotel and then maybe come back again next year, right?
yeah,
But the reason why we chose it is because convenience factor. Like we could go back to the hotel midday, get a nap in with the kids, like all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So we're still debating. We still have a couple more months we can change it if we need to, but I think that's probably what we'll end up doing is Polynesian, bring it back for nap, and then we can go see the fireworks and all that stuff at night. So
yeah. I think that's honestly the best approach. I mean, do it once, because I have a feeling like you'll go back again. At least this way you'll know, because they have the Skyliners that run right through the Polynesian and then go right to a couple parks. It makes
yeah,
it super convenient.
yeah.
Which yeah, if the kids start having a breakdown, it's
Yeah,
easier, less stressful to just go back and kick the
which
feet
they
for a while.
which they will have a breakdown. It's just a matter of how many. So is this
Are
a
they on a
daily
good
thing?
cadence, or is it like God's drop of chaos, just completely random?
It's either lack of sleep or lack of food. It's one of the two.
Hmm,
So don't
same.
have enough sleep, don't have enough food. Yeah, well, hangry is a real thing, especially for kids.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll get through it. It'll be fun. It'll be a great time. It's just the nerves are still there because I just don't know what I'm getting myself into. But it'll
yeah,
be a fun time.
yeah.
So
You'll be all right. It'll be fun. It'll be
yeah,
good. Yeah, once you get there and get into the swing of things, they do the good. Yeah, everything feels good. It's all super friendly. It's nice.
yeah. It's it'll be a change of pace from like we go to Michigan every summer, and like up there it's very much go at your own pace. So like we go
Yeah.
knowing that we're gonna spend a lot of time at the pool. We might go to the beach, but like it's not like a you got to be here at X time, and if you don't make it, then like you're out of luck. And
Yeah.
so like this is just it's gonna be a lot more structured of a vacation versus Michigan, where it's just like go to fly by the seat of our pants and that's about it. Got to make it to a parade, and that's like the only thing that we like, have to plan for a little bit. But like for
Yeah.
the most part, it's no schedule whatsoever. So this will be a little change of pace for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, just try to. I mean, you could do Disney any way you want. I mean, just try to take it
It's
that
true.
mindset. I mean, that's what we do. There's some people. I mean, some people get off on it like that plan down to the second, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just kind of like, let's just go where the vibe takes us and whatever. Because then it's
Um,
like it just takes a lot of stress away. But I get it. Like it's different when you've got like kids and you buy tickets
yeah.
for certain things and you have to hit this time slot. Yeah.
It'll be a fun time, man. I'm excited. I love Disney, right? I know all the stuff, so it'll be a good time. I don't. What's sad is I don't know a lot of the Marvel stuff. Like I know enough, but like I haven't like dove really deep into it because my kids just aren't there yet.
Right.
And so like most of the stuff that we watch is all the little kid shows, which are great. Don't get me wrong, but like, you think me being in my 40s and like having Marvel around for as long as I have, like I didn't get into it as much as a lot of my buddies did. So I got to start to venture over into that direction now that I'm, kids are getting a little older. I'm gonna start to pull them along for the ride, all that stuff. But I mean, it's like choose your own adventure, no matter when you start at this point. So
Have you not seen like Avengers and the big ones?
yeah, I've seen them, but like I haven't seen. I can't remember which ones I haven't seen. There's some of them that I haven't gotten into. Like, is it the Hornet or Wasp or something like
Oh,
that?
yeah, I haven't even gone that deep.
Like,
Like,
and then like I haven't seen Wanda yet. I haven't seen some of well, not Mandalorian, but what's the other one that's on Disney?
yeah, like the
Oh gosh,
TV
I'm blanking.
shows.
Yeah, the TV shows. I haven't gotten any of the TV shows. So
Yeah.
like, what's Thor's brother's name? I forget his name. I'm blanking right now.
The which one?
Thor's brother.
Oh,
Uh,
Loki?
yeah, Loki. So I haven't watched Loki yet.
That
Like,
one
there's
was
a lot of
interesting.
those. Yeah. So like, I think I've seen maybe 2 episodes, but I never like got deep into it. So yeah, I got some work to do. I got some homework at some point. So
I mean, you started your career in Hollywood.
it
Like
does that.
MySpace casting.
Sometimes when you go through the motions, it's not what you expect it to be, and you kind of lose your love for it at some point. So that was
Yeah.
part of it for me. But yeah, I definitely went through the whole agency stuff and learned a lot. Met a lot of people. It was cool from an energy standpoint, like being able to read scripts and stuff like that before they came to fruition into a film. I really enjoyed that, and just the whole movie making experience and process is really cool.
Yeah.
But it's high stress, high paced. Just at that time in my life, I was so stressed all the time, and it wasn't good from a physical or mental health perspective. And I didn't know what I was doing. Right, I was 23, so so just bad timing for me. But it was it was still a cool experience, and able to always look back at some of the neat stuff that I was able to do. But yeah, it's just after that, I didn't watch film the same way. Now I still enjoy all that, but just it's a different lens that I'm looking through it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Is it
So
how do you compare the speed and stress to tech, like Hollywood movie making versus software startups?
I mean, it's hard for me to say because I work on such a small team. So I'm not working, at Facebook or, some of the big companies that are out there. So like our team is 10 people, right? So
Magic size.
it's a nice size, and we are based in Indianapolis. We're building software that's not like it's not consumer facing type of stuff. So like it's a little bit different. I guess the one side of it is, but the software itself is not. Like it's more deployments and more notification stuff that's consumer based, like
Yeah.
job alerts. So it's a recruitment CRM. So like
Yeah.
it's stuff that is a little bit less out of the spotlight as much. So it's not as cutthroat, I guess. Which again, two small children, it's great from a work balance and stuff like that. Like I'm able to spend time with the kids, and that's what's most important to me these days. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got your dog there, I can tell.
Yeah, we'll see if he jumps on the couch
Yeah.
later. He just rammed his head into the door and came to get his scratchies. So it's he is the 100% guest on every episode. He's around here somewhere.
Which one is this, Brooklyn?
Yeah, this is Brooklyn. Brooklyn, you want to come up? Oh, there we go. Can you see him? Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
You're famous now. Okay, buddy. Say hi to Jeff. Uncle Jeff.
Hey, Brooklyn, what's up, buddy?
Oh, there we go. All right.
Huh?
Yeah, buddy. Cool. So yeah, anyways, how about that Web3 stuff? Went really, really hard, really fast. I mean, you were actually kind of the person that got me a little bit back into it. I mean, I'd been, sort of had my finger on the pulse since years and years ago, but it kicked up, and yeah, interesting. I mean, our mutual friend there, did he kind of get you into
the
it,
name we
or
do
how
not
did
speak.
how did you sort of like cross over the transom?
Yeah, I don't know what made me take the red pill. It was, gosh, what was it? I mean, I had been buying some some Ethereum and some Bitcoin back in like 2018, I think. And I just, bought it, held it, didn't do anything with it. And then 2021 rolled around, and I don't know if I just started to read some stuff about NFTs or what it was, but I remember one tweet. This is what got me kind of buying my first one. And this is what I pulled you into, which I apologize for because we just got rugged essentially. But it was a tweet that I saw a guy talking about this, this minting that's happening with this like enlightened owls.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, these owls they're kind of cool designs. Like I can get down with that. It's some wisdom there. Like it's some fun stuff. So I just, for whatever reason, I was like, all right, I'll figure this stuff out. So just, got the MetaMask set up, all that kind of stuff, and pulled the trigger on that particular project. I think I bought 2 of those and basically just got rugged. I mean, they were around for a short bit, but they jumped out like maybe after a month. With that, right after saying that they had like new big plans that they're going to come out with, just kind of like went away and ghosted everyone. So learned that on a couple different projects. But what kind of got me big into it was the MFers one. So like I saw it on Mint Day, and I was going to pick it up, and I'm like, these are so like they're so cool. But like there's not a lot to them. It was very minimalistic in terms of what it was. And then and a lot of it was the content that I saw getting pushed out. Like it just made me laugh. So a lot of just stupid humor, and had me rolling a lot of good GIFs, a lot of just stupid videos. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I bought it at, forget what it was at, like 0.08 or something. I forget what it was at. But it was like fairly early on. And then watched it fly up. I think it was the floor eventually got to about 10,000, and then it just came crashing back down. Still getting I still get offers every once in a while, but it's like definitely slow and a lot lower than it once was. Yeah. So, but like I got into it more so on Tezos, like much more the generative art stuff. So like that I just saw as a really just cool medium. Like I just love the artistic side of it. I love how the artwork could be used both physically and digitally. Like I've got a lot of friends. I've started to explore a little bit more of just printing stuff out and then having it hanging in your room and in your house, because it's like looks cool. It's nice art. Yeah. So like there's that physical aspect mixed with the digital aspect that was just kind of neat with it. Yeah, I can do that with the PFPs that I own, but like to me it's I just prefer some of the generative art stuff. It's just like you got in the background there, you got some abstract art. Like it spoke to me a little bit more. So I think there's some cool stuff going on that chain. Played around on Solana a little bit, but nothing like it didn't like get me as much as Ethereum and Tezos did. So yeah, I mean, that's just, I don't really know what I'm doing in there, right? I'm just kind of like learning here and there, and admittedly I kind of like dropped off a little bit over the down cycle here. Just you can pick stuff up, but like who knows what's going to happen, right? It could just continue to drop, or it could come back. I think, the question I have on my mind is like the halving in 2024 for Bitcoin. Like, how is that going to change things? And of course, the new Ethereum is a big deal as well. But like,
The merge.
yes. So I mean, I watch it, but like, I'm not as active as I was in just buying a bunch of NFTs, and that was just probably like my behavior is erratic because that's just my personality. So like I got very obsessed on it for a bit, and it was like, all right, let's dive right in. And then it was like, well, this is starting to go down. Maybe this isn't the best investment right now. So just kind of like pull back the reins a little bit, I'm watching it, but still holding. I almost said hodling because I'm used to saying hodling instead of holding these days. But yes, I am hodling. Yeah.
The enlightened owls was interesting because it was a precursor to moonbirds, which was like number one on OpenSea, right next to Bored Ape for a long time. I think I just looked, they're back down now. Let's see, what are they? I lost it. They're like 25-ish or something. But yeah, I think it's an interesting hypothesis test and case study to look at sort of human behavior with these things. And I agree with you on the generative art. I think, it's not just an image with a price point that goes up and down. I think it's just because us as humans are such visual creatures, that's the way we engage with technology. But then the people behind the scenes that are writing the code, like, really understand that what's really behind here is like a computer where the only interface is just a static image. But just like the web, I mean, you could have an entire SaaS app, a complete app living inside an NFT and duplicated across computers all over the world, stored on everyone's phone, like AWS times HubSpot times Apple stock, which is super interesting because basically the way I see this is you basically have a new media format that's combining all these other formats. So all you really did was add like a new business model to media, really. So like media businesses, software startups in the future, I think SaaS apps are going to be free, like maybe everything just gets distributed through the blockchain and a wallet, and it's your login, it's your payment mechanism, it's your investment platform, and it just aggregates up all of the demand and all the different media assets, and then it becomes part of your inventory bag, and that's just like your personal net worth and all that stuff. But obviously it's so early. I mean, it's just, if you delve into any of the people working in the space, it's just pure infrastructure. It's like 90s web where you're building out. It took millions of dollars to build the first e-commerce shopping cart, or like hundreds of millions of dollars for a server. We're at that stage.
Well, and you are far more knowledgeable and have a lot more experience than I do about, especially the infrastructure and architecture side of things. I'm looking at this primarily from a consumer standpoint when it comes to a lot of this stuff, is like just playing with it and seeing what makes sense. And the UI is awful. Like the experience is really pretty poor these days. So like, it's a convoluted mess and trying to figure out like what you're supposed to be doing. So like, I think that there's a lot of room for improvement and growth, and that it's not going to hit the adoption until it starts to fix some of those problems. So, and just belief in it. I think that's the biggest and hardest challenge, is like getting people to believe that like that is the direction that we're going in. So I tend to believe that it is, but I could be completely wrong. Right. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm working on a project right now, which is super interesting because we're at that place where you have to, from a product perspective, you have to account for both Web 2 and Web 3 users when you log in, sign up, and when you pay. And so you need to provide all of those options across the board. And that's really interesting because it's like bridge building right now between the two worlds. So, I have no doubt. I mean, you don't get like $1 trillion industry that just shows up overnight very often. In fact, almost never. And it's still around. I think really what happened is all of the hype, you pop the balloon and all the hype goes away. And then what you're left with is like the intrinsic value of what's there. And so sure, hype was 50%, but there's still a ton of intrinsic value there because of the way it's being built. And guess what? Who are the people that are most engaged with it? Like engineers. And what do engineers do? Build stuff. And do they ever stop? Nuh-uh, because it's built into their base DNA. So just give it time. It'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, you look back in the early days of the stock market and automobile industry, right? I can't remember how many, it was ridiculous automobile makers there once was in the early days of that industry. Like that very much came down to basically 3 companies at some point, right? So I think that during this time, we're going to see a lot of shedding of, projects and of companies, and that's part of the natural progression, but there's definitely going to be the beasts that survive, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens and shakes out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I have a question for you. So
shifting gears.
Actually, I have to pay you a compliment. I want to see, I already know what your response is going to be, but I think, and I'll tell you why beforehand. I think you're actually one of the best relationship people I've ever met in business, period, bar none. And you always say, no, that's BS. Like, get out of here, Everett. But no, seriously, I think that because it's such a soft skill. And I think a lot of people in the relationship area are just there to like grab your money and like screw you over. And like, it doesn't matter. It's just pure transactional, like gimme, pull the lever on the like cash machine. Right. And I think the difference with you is that you actually give a shit about the people more than the money. And the business, of course, like it has to be there, you've got a business to run, you got to pay the bills, but it just reminds me of the old book. I mean, it's not like you're doing this on purpose. Maybe you are, you tell me. But the Dale Carnegie book, like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like the main premise of that is like genuine interest in other people, and it just creates likability. So I think, you've never accepted it as like one of your superpowers, but I think it really is. And I think as you like lean into that over the next, whatever, 10, 20, 50, 100 years, because you never know, we might live forever. I think some interesting shit could happen.
Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment. So I appreciate that. I think I'm trying to process the compliment, because it's like, I don't believe in that, right, for myself, as much as I wish I could. I think that there's been multiple jobs, and kind of my path has been very like nonlinear. And so a lot of the relationships I made, it's like they're great people. I enjoy them. I enjoy the company, all this stuff. But then I shifted into a completely different industry, and it's hard, or has been hard for me to really keep in touch with a lot of those people. So, and I could probably rattle off of like ways that maybe we could reconnect and do business together or something like that. But like, it would be a far stretch. And so like, I have a hard time of like keeping in touch with people over the years. Plus I bounced around a lot of different cities too. So it's harder when you move from state to state and you're not in the same location as those people that you once were. But I think on kind of agreeing with you is that like, have you ever done Enneagram? I think you have. We've talked about that in the past.
Yeah, I did once. But, a friend did it.
So I'm an enthusiast. Don't get into the numbers. I need to go back and refresh my understanding and knowledge of it. But enthusiast is very much that. It's like the very charismatic and personal, friendly type of person. So I guess on that side of things, it would align with your kind of vantage point of me, I guess. I do think that I am a nice and kind individual. So I like to think of myself as, kindness is definitely something that like I strive for. Have I failed at that many times over the years? Absolutely. But and did alcohol have anything to do with any of those times where I was unkind? Probably. So like, you know, I've learned a few lessons along the way of like, you know, what does kindness really look like, and what do you need to do to really get there and to maintain it every single day. So I do see that in myself, but like the business side of it, I don't have the same business acumen as you do, right? So that is something that like I have always struggled with, is like my confidence in my own abilities when it comes to business and transactional dealings and stuff like that. Confrontation, I just shy away from confrontation. It's not the fight or flight, man. I'm sadly right now I'm not a fight guy.
Yeah.
So like that makes some of the negotiation stuff a little challenging for me. It makes a lot of the difficult conversations challenging for me. I've gotten better at it. Like project management, you have to have difficult conversations, right? So like I've gotten better at it with practice, but like it's still not something that comes naturally easy for me.
Well, let me change your perspective for a second and see if this hits, right? Because it's hard to see yourself or know thyself. So you said you didn't have very good business acumen, but let's peel this back for a second. So
Oh boy.
you've lived in a bunch of different cities. You've worked in a bunch of different cities. You've made relationships, friendships in a bunch of different cities. So different markets, check.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
How many different industries have you worked in? Hollywood and entertainment, real estate, like not residential, commercial real estate.
Yep.
Let's see, technology, like very early emerging technology,
Sure.
right? Like even big name startups that like back in the daily deals days, right? So there's three right there that I can just rattle off. And then let's talk about expertise, right? So
you forgot a couple: hospitality and healthcare.
Fuck. Okay. So 5. Okay.
Yep.
So let's say 5 different markets, more like probably 8 or 10,
Yep.
5 different industries. How many different skills and roles? So like casting, like commercial real estate deals, which involves finance, right?
Brokerage. Yep.
Brokerage, right? Okay. So now we've got sales. We've got relationships, we've got project management, we've got agency owner, you've got, let's see, marketing, let's see, you've got product management. Like, so if you say like, I actually don't believe you now, like some stranger meeting you is like, well, this guy just seems to be able to do it all. Can't believe that he does it all. So I don't know. I think you maybe need to rethink. I think you need to put it down on a whiteboard and go, actually, maybe I got a skill or two rattling around up there.
I have experiences. I think where my confidence lacks is hard skills like trades and things like that. Like
like manufacturing a freaking car.
Well, so like, a hard skill to me is something that you can do, and make money just doing just that one thing, right? Like, so my buddy's an electrician. He can make money just from being an electrician, going to, his next door neighbor or whatever. Like, he can do this skill. Yes, you need licensing and stuff like that to be able to do that. But it's a hard skill. Sales is not really, like, I don't look at that as much as a hard skill as something else. Like, yeah, I guess it probably could be, but I also don't have the stomach for it. Like, sales is hard. Like, you gotta have a certain temperament and a certain personality type to be able to do sales. Marketing, yes, I can do marketing. That is something that, the creative side of it, especially the execution though, has changed drastically over the years. And if you have that technical acumen, you can definitely have a leg up on that. So like, I could do that, but like, it would take me some time to like figure out, a certain channel or a certain technology to be able to implement some of the marketing stuff. But yeah, you're right. Like, relationship stuff is always going to, be there. When I think about like the different industries and stuff like that I worked in, it's in the different jobs, I should say, that I worked in, it always came down to like 3 things. It came down to really the industry itself, so the vertical, and each vertical that you're in has different players that are in that particular industry. So as long as you know who the players are, you're good with that. You understand the process. that is in place. And so, for each industry, it's a little different, but there's a lot of similarities in the process across different industries. And then 3 would be the kind of what I call the rules of engagement, because every industry is a little bit different. Some industries are all about the phones. Other industries, they don't touch the phone. Some, industries like now, I don't touch email, right? Like I'm in Slack all day long.
Yeah.
So it's just the rules of engagement are very different. There's very political environments, there are very non-political environments. The way that you talk to your boss in one particular, and this may be just individual jobs, but I would say industries as a whole have a certain energy about them, and there's rules of engagement that are varying based upon the industry that you're in.
Yeah.
I would not be able to do in entertainment what I do in technology now. Like it just won't work because the process is different. The rules of engagement are vastly different.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going with that, but just some thoughts around the different stuff.
I think I've just come to realize that I think the name for it is just product management. Because honestly, like you spit your coffee out, but literally I read, so here's an example, like across my desk, I get probably, depending on how hot the market is, 2 to 3 to 10 to 15 product management opportunities every day. And I skim through the title, I read through like a little bit of the description. And I've obviously worked in this space for a long, long time, actually executing on these things. And like I did an episode on this for like 2 minutes because the answer is like, what is product management? It's everything. It's freaking everything. Like the expectation and the requirement from the market is, oh yeah, just add that. And it's basically like, you've got to be excellent at everything all the time, which is like ridiculous. Like name another, other than a business owner, name another role where you have to pull on all of these skills. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that over the last year, you've pulled on probably every skill that you have at some point or another. Maybe not in your interest time, like even Web3. I mean, like in your interest, like your free time, you're just like messing around with Web3. Like what?
Yeah, I also would say with product management that the role is very ambiguous. And so it's like, it's hard to really know like what is exactly what you need to do each and every day. It changes by second. So like, whether or not you're supposed to be helping by, aligning the product marketing with the product that you're building, making sure that, the sales team has updates on things, making sure that you've got all their ticket management and stuff in order so that developers actually know what they're supposed to be doing each week, making sure that it's understood by the development team, like what those tickets actually mean. So like articulating the right way so they understand what needs to be built. I mean, there's just so many different things that go into the role that it makes it hard to really know what to prioritize some days, right? That, at least for me, that's definitely been a challenge, is like what needs to come first. And I think, I look as just building the product the way it needs to be built. So understanding the roadmap as the top priority to me. Sales, for instance, like sales team, I want them to know we got to sell this thing, right? We got to make revenue on this. So like, that's top priority, is making sure that you're monetizing it and getting that willingness to pay. But like giving the updates to the sales team, to me right now, is not priority, because we got to get a couple features in before we can increase the value of the product to the consumers and to its users. I mean, so like, it's just, you got to prioritize some of these things. It's hard some days.
Yeah. It's like playing Jenga a little bit. Like you got to keep building, but you need, it's just like this constant, like keep everything in balance is really how it is. It's just like, ultimately, the longer I've done it, the more it just comes down to feel. Like you've trained all the little like nuanced prioritization mechanics, and it's ultimately at the end of all of this, it just comes down to like pure tuning fork. Like I think that's like beyond master level into like magician level. It's just pure tuning fork, because you can get rid of everything, and if you drop something out into the market, do people like clamor around it? It's like basically the day, or what is it? It's like the Thanksgiving Day sale back in the day when people used to rush into Walmart to get a HD TV for like $200 or something. It's like that kind of thing. Like, and everything else is just in service of that. And that's it. And it's just different in different markets, of course, and not every every release is going to be Thanksgiving Day. But yeah, it's business is a weird, wild, woolly sport, and it just everything changes all the time, forever and ever.
Well, I think it made me think of a way that I can kind of pay you a compliment, which is you are a master at two things. One is the analogies, like making far analogies between things that just don't seem like they connect. I don't know how you do it, but you're like, oh yeah, well that's because this over here is doing this and this over here is doing that. So they obviously work together. And I'm like, that I don't see that as being obvious at all, but it makes sense.
It's not obvious.
That's one. And then two, your ability to multitask. I don't know how you multitask, but like you are always juggling like 1,000 different things at once and somehow just like magically make it work and work really well. And I don't know how you do that because I can't, I've got too much ADD going on. I can't keep focus on any of that stuff.
You know what the secret is?
What?
It's Command Tab. Or on the Windows machine, it'd be Alt Tab. But that's true. Like this is actually something I'm trying to work on as I get older, because you find you get into this especially in product, it becomes very difficult because you have so many things coming in and pulling at you from so many different areas and departments that you get into this constant like cycle Command Tab between apps and people and things and priorities and tasks, that you can literally lose the forest through the trees and your focus, and you become like manic. Like you're just constantly shifting because you need to be responsive, you need to answer questions. And I've gotten to the point where I'll just start blocking out time or like put on do not disturb so I can get out of that mindset, because deep focus is so important to like invention and creation that you need that time to get lost in the flow state. And there's nothing if not notification bells and whistles that will interrupt your flow state. And I think I saw recently it takes like 15 or 20 minutes for you to get into it. Yep. So, I mean, that basically means nobody in America, at least, is in any kind of flow state ever. Like the whole country is just like manic. We're just like caffeine and like vibrating at the surface level.
It's a problem. I mean, so my wife and I don't really like the show, not Lulu Kids, but what's Coco Melon. So like, if you ever watch Coco Melon, you can see that they change the frame every 3 seconds. So like the kids they're not focused on one screen for very long at all because it's constantly shifting and changing. So I as a parent, I start to wonder like, how's that going to affect their like attention span long term? Yeah. Or even like I think about decision fatigue with Netflix. There's so many things that they have to choose from. They'll sit there and just look through everything for 10 minutes before they find something that they will actually want to watch right then and there. Mm-hmm. So like I think about what is the long-term effects of decision fatigue for them? Like it's just, there's a lot of stuff with the way that media is created and distributed right now that like makes me question the health, like mental and emotional health that it's going to have on our kids. I never thought about this stuff when I was growing up, but like now as a parent, starting to think about it.
It's so true. I mean, it is a direct result of the media. I mean, even like YouTube, Instagram, going into the short form video content. Yeah. Like I mean, you can only get so short. Like one frame is essentially just an image, just literally image, one after another. And TikTok is it's 1,000 channels with nothing on. And the clicker instead of the remote is just a swipe on your phone. Like your phone's become a remote. Like instead of tapping, I'm now just swiping and that's it. So what's the end game? Here's my question. Does the pendulum swing back the other way to like books? Because I agree with you. I've read these studies where just the attention span of like younger generations just can't sit through an entire 2-hour movie. Even like people our age anymore, it becomes difficult because of like 24/7, you're always on, you're on the internet. You just get used to this like dopamine drip over and over. And so I don't know, because at some point you reach the cognitive limit. And like I was talking with this other guy in the last episode, Shannon limit, how many bits you can take into your brain. It's like 41 bits a second or something, which isn't very much. So much is just bouncing off. So here's the question. Does the pendulum swing back the other way? Or does it just stay in this like super high vibration state for years, forever?
I think it can go two ways. So like something that like I've gotten better at but still struggle with is my own addiction to my own phone. And watching like that play out with my kids, especially my 6-year-old, who has said like, Daddy, I wish that you play with me instead of being on your phone. Like I've heard her say it before, right? And so like, does that make her as she gets older, have this like distaste for phones
Yeah.
and like not wanting anything to do with the technology because it disrupted her childhood? Or is she gonna, pick up a phone one day and just get just as addicted as I am and everyone else?
Yeah.
So I think it could go both ways. Now that is something that like I say that I've got an addiction to my phone, but it's probably gotten a little bit better over the years. Like I used to be like constantly on my phone, constantly checking notifications, all that kind of stuff. Now I turn off the notifications, don't really pay attention to that. Don't have an Apple Watch anymore because I was getting notifications all the time on that. And yeah, you can turn it off, but that's part of the reason why you want it. Now I will say my wife wants me to get it so that she can actually like get in touch with me any time of the day because half the time it's in my phone and my phone is in my pocket.
Yeah.
And like I don't see it. I don't know that something's going on. So like I see there's also value in some of these things. So it's like what's the balance? What's the balance between it? But I definitely see like, this is not something that is age specific. Like I see, parents, grandparents like not engaging with kids because they're on their phones all the time. Like it's a problem, and I don't know the best way to handle it. It's just I think individually people have to realize that like life is more than just being in your phone all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the healthy balance, what works for you, and you just have to have the awareness of it too.
yep.
I mean, maybe they just need to make like a bat phone. It's like the wife phone or the husband phone or the partner phone, and it's family member only. But yeah, I don't know, I just feel like it's never gonna quite go away. It's sort of like when newspapers were invented, like they didn't go away because a new media format or distribution method was invented. Still got radio, still got newspapers, still got books, still going strong, still got TV, like still using email, which is ancient in the web, but people still have email.
Still use it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It may continue to morph, but like, I made a prediction a couple of years ago that was so far off and so far wrong, which is that the pendulum was going to swing and that mobile phones were going to be like, people are going to use them less and less, and that we're going to have like this fatigue with it and it's going to go away. Like I was so wrong. Right. So this is like maybe a year and a half ago that I said like within the next 18 months, it's going to start to dwindle. And like here we are 18 months later and it's, mobile is going high. So like, I think it's going to be around for a long time. I think the way that we use it is going to be changing, and that's based upon individual preferences though. And like you said, awareness, but I think it goes beyond awareness. I think it's also like, do you want to change those behaviors? So like kind of a willingness to change.
Yeah.
So
no, it's interesting. I mean, you just maybe have the wrong time period on your prediction. Because I think these things, like habits that are so well ingrained, it's sort of like the whole social networking thing and the backlash against Facebook and all of that. I mean, there's years of it and it hasn't necessarily slowed it down, but I think it brings more awareness to it. So perhaps it doesn't go away, but the balance becomes healthier over time, like to your point. And
but
so
how?
What's that?
So how do you change those behaviors to be more healthy?
I think I've been thinking a lot. Okay. I'm going to tell you something here. So we can get into the mental health thing in a minute. We got like 10 minutes. I don't know if you have to go. We can go a little over.
I've got a 2:30, so I'm good for a little bit.
Okay. Actually I do have to go in 10.
Okay.
So subconscious. I think as I've been going heavier into the media stuff again and testing everything, what I'm kind of sort of surfacing is that you have to be very careful about the content that you engage with, the messaging that you engage with, because it does impact your subconscious. And it's like what you see. So for example, you see someone drinking a glass of wine on a show in TV at night. It might trigger something that engages you to be like, oh, maybe I want a glass of wine right now, when you weren't thinking about it before. The content, the type of stuff that you watch, the messaging that gets repeated, like say TikTok, you go down one of those algorithm holes and it just keeps getting repeated and reinforced. So those grooves in your mind get reinforced. And so I think there is a sense where you, like I came with this phrase, like safe for your subconscious, like content that's safe for your subconscious, where you can filter, sort, select, and decide what is okay for you. So maybe that's where this stuff heads in the future. And then same thing with like time, right? Like Apple built some of these features into the phone, for example. So I don't know. I wonder if it just becomes a little bit more controlled in the way we access it and what we deem is acceptable and not acceptable for ourselves and our children and our family. Your thoughts?
I think it's interesting. I mean, you know, TikTok is one of those the use case there is fascinating because of the algorithm, right? So like the For You stuff, it just, you hit the nail on the head. You can go down this rabbit hole from the algorithm. Thankfully right now my algorithm is sending me all kinds of like workout stuff. So like, you know, these are all the exercises that you can be doing. So like, it makes me like, you know, go down to the basement and my dark hole and get my workout on. So like, that's a healthier one, but like I haven't always had healthier ones. Right. So like, I can definitely see that playing a role. Like that gets me like pumped and jazzed. The other thing is like, you know, smoking meats. So like, you know, I get a bunch of stuff about, you know, just food, and like, that's both good and bad because like, it does make me hungry, but you know, it's kind of like I'm living vicariously through the videos rather than like diving into some chocolate cake. I'll just watch them make something and kind of savor the tastes digitally and never physically. So,
That's
but
interesting.
no, that's a fascinating perspective on the subconscious. I'm sure that there's science out there to back that up too, but I don't know it.
Yeah, it's just triggers. So I think to your point, how do you deal with things? The old BJ Fogg model, it's to creating habits. It was trigger, action, reward, 1, 2, 3. But so the way you change a habit is same trigger, different action, better reward. So I don't know, let's say, I don't know. I mean, it's like chocolate cake. You use the chocolate cake example. Same trigger, you think about chocolate cake, different action. Instead of eating it, you watch the video, different reward. I don't know, like you said you savored it digitally and you imagine yourself having that satiation, and then you don't have the impact. I actually saw this one video. This is fascinating. This was from like when I was really deep in TikTok back in early 2019 and trying to figure it out before it blew up in the States. I saw this guy who was hacking his own brain. So he had a bottle of Coca-Cola, he had a plate of chicken wings, and then he had like celery and water. So he would sniff the Coca-Cola, sniff the chicken wing, and then he'd eat celery and drink water.
Interesting.
So he programmed like the smell into the healthier alternative, and then he got full with the healthier alternative. And I was like, that's exactly it. That's how you change a habit. So I don't know, maybe we just have apps that help us program ourselves through media based on what we want. So I want to like lose weight. I want to get a little healthier. I want to like lower my blood pressure. I want to like get some more sunshine. You know, I want to be more engaging with my family. Here's a bunch of like content that just pounds it into your brain until you just like start doing it, and you don't realize you started doing it until afterwards. I don't know. It's worth a shot.
Let me know when you build that, Sean.
We'll see.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, I got 5 minutes. So what should we outro? What should we outro to? We'll do a round 2 because I want to like go deep on mental health stuff, because I'm gonna start working on a project, and Yeah, I think it's super interesting. I think it is the ultimate journey into yourself.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the
I
biggest
mean,
adventure.
it's not much an outro, but like, as you know, like mental health advocacy is important to me. I've been through a lot of stuff over the years. And so like I've done a lot of hard work in that space, just personally, right, from a personal standpoint. And it's something that, is not going anywhere, especially with COVID. We already, sadly, like it took a global pandemic for us to take mental and emotional health seriously. And we're going to have a lot of people that have some trauma from that, and still have a lot of trauma from it. But it's COVID's not really going away. It's still here. May not be, I think we all have fatigue from mass standpoint and from like just in general the pandemic, right? So I think that mental health is going to play a huge role in our future. It's just a matter of like how we can make it a healthier lifestyle, right? And really like take it seriously individually and as a whole. So yeah, I'd love to chat more about that stuff.
Yeah, we'll do let's schedule another one and then we'll go deep in that area, because I was talking to a psychologist who said 2 words to me. She had a guild, and right when the pandemic hit, she's like, okay, we need to protect ourselves as well because we're going to be bombarded. They knew it was coming, right? The mental health stuff.
Yep.
And the one thing she told me was 2 words: learned helplessness. Which is interesting. I'm still trying to unpack that, and I need to talk to her again about it. But it was basically like, such big things impact us that we feel we have no control over, like elections, the climate, a global pandemic, that then
civil unrest.
Yeah, it's basically like, well, I just throw my hands up and I just stop caring or trying, and I don't take control of my own life. It's learned helplessness because of these things. And so it's like, maybe the big unlock is we have to figure out a way to take back control for our own personal lives in a healthy way, in a positive way. Anyways, leave us with that, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you for putting up with my hair today, Sean.
It's pretty subdued compared to that picture I saw that one day. That was awesome. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's my wife continues to try and help me with like, you gotta style it a different way, because like I had like the nice way of like putting it backwards or whatever, and she's like, you gotta style like Harry Styles, or like who else is she throwing out there that I'm like,
keep the magic alive, man.
Is it James Patterson? Yeah, there's a bunch of people that she's thrown in my direction. Like, see how he does his hair? You got to do your hair like that.
Yeah.
And this is how it landed. So thank you for putting up with it today. I could have worn a hat.
No, it's good, because like it's hard to tell because you have the little like black background right there, the shadows. Yeah.
Sorry.
Better light. Yeah. I need better light.
Sorry.
I got the window off the left. There you go. You are.
I'm ready to party. Ready to party.
It's Monday party time.
That's right.
1 p.m., 2 p.m. Eastern.
All right, buddy. Well, I enjoyed this conversation and look forward to the next one. Thanks for having me on.
Sounds good, dude. Appreciate it, brother. Have a great day and love the family.
All right, we'll do, man. Talk to you later.